A chaotic scene in Jefferson Parish. Cops everywhere, a suspect on the run, and a deputy down. The date, June 2016, the morning JPSO detective David Michelle was gunned down while trying to question a suspect. Jermaine Nevo was captured, arrested, and charged with first-degree murder. Jefferson Parish District Attorney Paul Connick is seeking the death penalty, meaning if convicted, Nevo could be put to death by lethal injection. His case is one of only a handful of death-eligible ones in the state of Louisiana. Irv Magri is a victims' rights advocate.
We need to keep the death penalty in Louisiana, beyond any shadow of a doubt.
But in Louisiana, the death penalty is rarely used. The last execution, January 2010, and in that case, the suspect waived all appeals and asked to be put to death. And the last person given a death sentence in Orleans Parish, 2009. Magri, a retired NOPD detective, used to chair the state parole board and now runs Crime Fighters, a statewide advocacy group. He's a strong supporter of the death penalty.
Nobody's wanting to put people to death, but, quite frankly, Travis, sometimes it is required.
Death penalty defendants typically don't have the money to cover their legal cost. That means their cases are handled by public defenders with taxpayers covering the bill. The American Civil Liberties Union says it's money well spent.
I do believe that they need good defense and that defense is expensive.
But it's that cost that's causing problems. Ramey Starnes, head of the Louisiana Public Defenders Board, says he places a lot of blame on capital murder cases. They're at a financial breaking point, and in this letter he paints a grim picture. It reads, "Public defense funding is unreliable, unstable, and insufficient." And it goes on to say, capital cases threaten the solvency of the entire Louisiana statewide public defense system. An outsized portion of the public defense budget is consumed by these relatively few cases. This situation is unsustainable and needs to be addressed by the legislature.
He should be able to give you an answer on whether or not they need more funding or whether or not they want to repeal the death penalty.
WDSU Investigates obtained hundreds of pages of data and records that show the exact cost to represent those charged with first-degree murder. Statewide public defenders handled over 460,000 cases total in 2018 and 2019. That's felonies and misdemeanors. Only 11 of those cases were capital cases. Yet those 11 cases ate up almost 10% of the entire $69 million public defender operating budget. And again, more than $6 million spent on just 11 cases.
We have innocent people that are currently on death row. But then when you think about that, and you look at the amount of money that it costs for these cases to be defended, it really is hard to justify that tremendous expense when there's so few cases.
Here's part of why the cost to defend capital murder suspects is so high. In Louisiana, not just any attorney can handle a death penalty case. The state Supreme Court requires special certification for those lawyers, and only a few in Louisiana meet the criteria, so that drives up the cost. And death penalty cases can take much longer to get to trial. In fact, records show that in 2018, 0 capital cases actually went to trial, and in 2019, only 2 saw the inside of a courtroom. Remember, over $6 million was spent in that time frame to handle capital cases. And the board adds, there are so few capital defense lawyers available, 13 suspects eligible for the death penalty haven't been assigned lawyers yet.
You want to repeal the death penalty at the ACLU because it's unfair, because it's unjust.
And due to funding, the Public Defenders Board is looking to the state legislature for critical help, for more money, or to abolish the death penalty. In his statement, the board chairman says, "This tremendous expense is a fraction of the overall cost of capital punishment to the state. The Public Defender Board is always looking for ways to improve the system and allocate resources efficiently." So while some say it's time to do away with executing inmates because of the high cost, Irv Magri disagrees.
If it's your mother, your father, your child that has been brutally murdered, innocent blood, yes, we need it. And we no matter what's the cost of a human life.
And here's the catch. Even if a person is sentenced to death and exhaust all their appeals, the state can't kill them now anyway. That's because Louisiana has struggled to obtain the drugs needed to perform lethal injections, so executions are on hold. There are 68 people on death row in this state, 67 men and 1 woman, former NOPD officer Antoinette Frank. 22 states have abolished the death penalty outright, and 17 others, including Louisiana and neighboring Mississippi, have not executed an inmate in over a decade.